Hello everyone, Kelsie Michaud here, Certified Health and Life Coach, and today we're talking about principle number 10 of intuitive eating, which is to honor your health with gentle nutrition. So there's a common misconception with intuitive eating, and that's that nutrition doesn't really matter. Have you heard that before? Or do you tend to think that? Well, that is absolutely not the case. It's not true. But there is a reason that this particular principle is saved for last, okay? So, hi Stephanie, how are you? Thanks for coming on. So, before a person can actually tackle their nutrition, they really need to heal the relationship with food first. Bottom line, okay? So, that's why there's 9 principles, all before this number 10, and there's 9 before we actually get to discussing what really should be on your plate. So before you even worry about that, you want to make sure that you've mastered the 9 before. So I know this is kind of like backwards thinking, like it's backwards from what diet culture tells us. And diet culture, it starts with that, talking about exactly what should be on your plate. And that adds in other areas to focus on. So what happens though, is that most people will they'll stay focused on their program or their diet or whatever they're on, and they'll end up losing all of these senses of intuition. We want to be listening to our internal cues, right? We want to listen to what our body's telling us, but when we're on a diet, a lot of times we ignore them or we just override them. So when you're still so focused on this program that you're on, your sense of intuition that you need to actually be able to care and listen to your body kind of goes away because you're just overriding it a lot of the times. So you really cannot begin to even think about nutrition until you've actually mastered peace with food. So first you want to just be able to do that. And until you have given yourself absolutely unconditional permission to eat and to eat all the foods that you really want and you enjoy eating, that's really where being satisfied with your food comes into play. You want to make sure that you're enjoying everything and you're feeling satisfied. So because what actually happens is that if we try to take on nutrition with this very rigid diet mentality, what's going to happen is we're going to end up just misinterpreting all of the information, and then it ends up being really ineffective. Hi Chloe, how are you today? So every single one of these principles plays a key role, from 1 through 10, they all play a key role in healing your relationship with food and your body. And I truly believe that, the process of honoring your health with this gentle nutrition, it shouldn't even be looked at until you have addressed all of the other principles. Because otherwise, you're just going to feel like you're on a diet. And remember that principle number 1 is to reject that diet mentality. So I also want you to think about, know that there's no perfect way to eat. The way I honor my body will be different from yours. Okay, it's going to be different in the way that you honor your body. So no one is, put on this pedestal because they're doing intuitive eating better than someone else. It's this process that is just, it's always evolving, and it evolves as you age, it evolves as you grow, and as life changes all around you. So take the time and energy to really explore all those other 9 principles before you actually start paying closer attention to what's on your plate. And if you aren't truly ready for this step, it's going to feel like a diet. That's why it's so important to master the other 9 principles first. Hi Tara, how are you? So instead, I want you to feel more excited about how you're going to be feeling your best after you've gone through all of these 9 principles, rather than worrying about number 10 and what's on your plate. Okay, so that's why it's so important. So what I want you to think about, when you finally do get to intuitive principle number 10, then you can start to think about, okay, am I eating enough fruits and vegetables? You want to make half of your plate fruits and vegetables. You want to eat enough, even get enough fish in if you're someone who likes seafood. Fortunately, I don't. I wish I did because it's so, so good for you. I can't get past it, but I have my other sources of good lean protein. So let's see, Tara's asking, is this just eating until you are full? That's part of it, definitely part of it. But it's not just that. You want to honor your hunger and your fullness. And when within intuitive eating, you're losing that diet mentality, and you're changing your whole mental state around food in your body. So you're going to not be, let's see, I crave carbs. Yes, craving carbs is very common, and the reason why we crave carbs is that carbs are sugar. Okay, broken down, they're sugar. And sugar is addictive, and it's addictive just like a drug. It's a scientific fact. So when our body craves, the more you have it, the more you want it. Okay, so you're going to crave those carbs for that reason, because they're basically sugar. So what needs to happen is you need to get them out of your system. So maybe choose some better options for carbs, like more whole grain type carbs. Fruits and vegetables are carbs as well. I know some people don't realize that, but fruits and vegetables are great sources of carbs. Things like quinoa and oatmeal, these kind of carby type foods, because they don't have all those sugars. And yes, the fruits and vegetables have sugars, but the thing with those is that they have fiber as well. And when you have fiber, you're not going to get those up and down sugar spikes, because it's going to help keep your blood sugar more stable. So the thing with carbs, being pretty much made of sugar, a lot of times we get those sugar spikes. Your blood sugar is going to rise, then you're going to get the drop, and you're going to crave more sugar. Okay, so that's why you get stuck in that vicious cycle with the carbs. So if you can start to eliminate them and get them out of your system, once they're out of your system, and I'm not saying don't eat carbs at all, because our body needs carbs, but like I said, the better, healthier options of them, and then you're not going to crave them so much. So I hope that helped. I hope that made sense for you. If you have any questions, please let me know. And then also with all of this intuitive eating, honoring your hunger and fullness is absolutely key here. It's important. It's part of listening to those internal cues that our body is sending us, and a lot of times we override them, or we just ignore them because we're on a diet and we think, okay, we have to eat at this certain time, and I can only have this today, or I can only have this much. Hi Jess, how are you? So that's where we get rid of all that thinking, and we eat when we're hungry. When you're hungry, eat. And don't wait until you're starving, okay? You want to start eating when those cues you're telling you, okay, I'm starting to feel a little hungry. Not when you're like hungry, because then we know what happens. We don't make the best choices at that point, do we? So, and then once you start eating, you want to stop before you feel like you need to unbutton your pants, okay? You don't want to get to that point. You don't want to feel like, oh, I think I ate too much, or I don't feel too good right now. You want to eat and nourish your body until you feel satisfied, okay? Not full and gross and just like, oh, I ate too much, or I overdid it, or why did I eat that? You want to start eating when you're noticing those cues. That's why it's so important to pay attention to what your body's feeling. And a lot of times when we're just dieting, we're not listening to those cues anymore. Our body's trying to tell us, it's trying to speak to us, but with all of these different diet rules going around, we don't know what to do, and then we end up not listening to those cues that are so important to listen to and to honor for ourselves and for our health. So actually, I have an example for this. So, like when I was losing weight or trying to lose weight on a diet, a long time ago, like I would save so many calories for like later on in the day to have like a high protein ice cream, because I thought, okay, I'm doing good, it's a higher protein ice cream. And most nights I try to only have like a nice little serving or two. But I had a really hard time stopping myself, and then usually end up just eating the whole thing, right? Can you relate to that? So today, I may have ice cream 1 or 2 nights a week, if even that. And ice cream, it's lost its appeal to me, because I've told myself I can have it every day. I can have it whenever I want. And that's part of intuitive eating as well. Giving yourself full permission to eat whatever you want, all the foods that you enjoy. So, like, I finally started listening to my body and what it wanted and what it needed, okay? So this way I'm not eating something just because. So when I have it now, I really, really enjoy it. You know, it's like a whole different experience now, and I'm also no longer buying that high protein ice cream, because instead I'll just get what I feel like I want, like whatever appeals to me at the time when I'm at the grocery store. Or lately, to be honest, it's been Haagen-Dazs, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm a ingredient reader, and I want to make sure I'm getting good ingredients in my foods. Everything, if it is going to be packaged or in a box or something like that, I don't want a ton of chemicals and preservatives in my food. So I read the labels, and Haagen-Dazs happens to be like really clean ingredients. It's like cream, eggs, sugar, like that's it. Okay, it doesn't have all that extra added, and it's so good. You can taste the difference. It might be a little pricier, but I don't have it that often. I mean, I've had a container in my freezer for over a week now. It's been sitting there. So just a little bit here and there whenever I want it, and I'm good. I'm good. I don't feel the need to go crazy on it. So, but I want you, because I want you to remember that, you know, also you're the expert of your own body, right? Like, you know how you feel. Hey Cheryl, how are you? And only you know how you feel when you eat certain foods. You know how your body reacts, and only you know how to honor your hunger and your fullness, because you know how you feel when you start to get hungry, or when you get past that hunger and it starts to turn a little hangry, or how you feel once you start to feel full, right? You recognize those cues, and a lot of times, like I said, we ignore them or we override them, and then that's where we get into trouble. So my advice for you is to just take as much time as you need, or that you feel necessary, to heal your relationship with food, and then to just get to live with a body that you're at peace with, and you get to live that way for the rest of your life. So having peace with yourself and with the food on your plate, you know, you can get to that point once you go through all of these intuitive eating principles. So, you know, it's really a blessing to learn like what my body needs and actually listen to it. Okay, so it's never too late to heal your relationship with food and your body. You know, you don't have to spend the rest of your life hating your body, or, you know, body shaming, or having that negative self-talk. You can find happiness within, you know, this intuitive eating and listening to your own body and all of the signals that it's sending you. So, you know, if you'd like to try intuitive eating, if something you've never done and you feel like, oh, maybe this is something, you know, I should try because I should be listening to my body, you know, reach out. And, you know, I'm here to answer all of your questions. Or I also have a 3-day crash course. It's just 3 days, like 3 quick days. It's called Secrets to Overcome Overeating. It's an online course. It's all online, and it's just $37, and it teaches you how to stop fearing foods that you absolutely love, and it teaches you to reconnect your internal cues and how to meet your emotional needs as well. And I'll actually drop the link in the comments, because if you click on the link, it'll explain, give you a lot more information for it too. But everything that I just talked about, it helps you do that within 3 days. And if you'd rather just talk to me personally about your own health and weight goals, you know, you can reach out that way too. So it does take some time, you know, it takes some work and some time, but there is freedom within your food, and if you're willing to work towards it, it will work for you. So I hope that was helpful for you. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out. And if there's none right now, I'm going to hop off, but I hope you all have a very beautiful day, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys.